Recently, I did a video about my facial analysis, and in that video I really spoke about like the balance between my features, a low and high visual weight, like how I should wear my hair. But I also spoke a little bit in that video about my light summer coloring, but I didn't really focus on it. And I did get some questions about like my coloring, like am I truly light summer? Like could I do a video with light summer versus colors that don't suit me well? And I thought that's a good idea. We're doing my worst makeup versus my best makeup, so let's get into it. All right, what you need to know before we get into this makeup is light summers are predominantly light. It's their first thing you notice about them. It's the most important feature, the most important characteristic. They are neutral, leaning slightly cool, and they are the brightest of the summers, but they're still leaning a little bit soft. But they are not super soft. They're kind of like towards getting a little bit more brighter. It's a lot of pastel shades in their season. Like you can wear a lot of pastels, but leaning cooler, but it's not like extremely truly cool. Like the sister season of light summers is light spring, and light spring is also neutral but leaning a little bit warmer. So what we're thinking about with light summer makeup is cool tones, light tones, rosy tones. Like it can be a little bit on a neutral side, but not too neutral. It kind of depends what source you are asking, like how cool it should actually be. Like some show more like taupes, cool tone browns, some like cool tone beiges, and some show like only grays basically and cool tone pinks. So it kind of depends, but I feel like it also kind of depends what kind of light summer you are. I feel like I am quite a neutral light summer. That is also why I sometimes get the questions or get comments saying like you look better in the warm tone makeup, because if I wear really harsh, really dark cool tone makeup, it will look worse than soft, slightly warm tone makeup. And then of course for the worst colors, it's gonna be very warm and very harsh, as in pretty deep colors. Like the opinions, like the information, it kind of differs, it kind of changes, but overall like the thing we can really the thing that really is agreed on is like super warm and super deep doesn't work. Don't wear black, don't wear oranges, don't wear like orangey reds. Stay away from that. I feel like if colors lose kind of like that freshness, and if colors lose kind of like the light coolness, like that's where you're kind of like getting in dangerous territory. Like it's not looking as good anymore. All right, let's get into the looks. All right, let's start with the worst makeup so we can end on a positive note. And yeah, I'm not looking forward to this per se. Like I'm gonna be using some tones that I basically always avoid. Like I don't use these colors because I do not like them on me whatsoever. Maybe I have a different opinion, but I don't like these. And for today, I just really want to make it super obvious. Like we're gonna do a totally like fully warm look. And I grabbed out two eyeshadow palettes that I kind of want to combine. First up, I grabbed the Neutrals palette by Cosmic Beauty. And this is a neutral palette with some mustards as well. Like these mustards are often mentioned as worst colors for light summers. I do feel like the colors that are mentioned as worst and best colors, like it can change a little bit, but I feel like these mustards are very obvious. And then there's also a black in here that I do want to use, because black is like the no, don't do it for light summers. And then I also grabbed out the High Temp palette. I bought this palette knowing that I would never really use these shades. I mean, this really mustardy yellow here and then this orange, like these are not my shades. And then if I combine that with black, it's gonna look crazy, but we're gonna get into it. All right, I'm just gonna start out this look with orange. I feel like when there's an orange in a palette, that is the type of shade that I will do my pre-shower makeup with. I will try it for you, but I won't wear it for you. Blacks I avoid at all costs. I am not reviewing any black eyeshadow because there are so many blacks in palettes. By the way, I'm already wearing an eye primer. Not that I want this to last, but there are so many blacks in palettes. Like it's such a standard color, hard to avoid sometimes. So I have decided for myself that I am not gonna review black. But I thought this is a good opportunity. Like, I'm almost done reviewing, like testing out this palette. I thought this is a good opportunity to still have kind of like a use for these shades. Orange is like my anti-shade. Orange and black. Like other colors, like even the colors that are mentioned on different websites as the worst colors for light summers, I feel like I can make work in some way, in some capacity. But orange, not really. And also like a really warm red, I hate on myself. And I have to be honest, I always find it pretty difficult to really do my absolute best on a look like this, because I already hate it. And then I'm not gonna put as much effort, like even if I try to, consciously I try to put in as much effort, like I don't want the techniques to be the thing that ruin the look, but I don't know, it's hard sometimes to like put in the same effort. Like I'm really trying to. Alright, I'm taking a little bit of that mustard yellow called Summery and I'm placing that right in here. I just feel like all my makeup skills went out of the window. Why is this not working out? I also feel like because these colors are so not my colors, I don't know, they just don't blend as well with my skin tone. Like they blend with each other, but I don't know, it just looks weird against my skin tone. Okay, I think we're getting the gist. We're getting the idea. I need a bit more blending of the edges. We need to take this seriously. It needs to look good, but just not good on me. But we definitely still need the darkness of the black to make this look like the actual worst look for me. Like you could still make this work. Alright, we need a warm shimmer. Let's do this shade Glitz. So that is definitely a more mustardy shade. It's a pretty shade though, and I'm kind of like happy that I have this look to try it with, because this is a type of shade that I probably wouldn't touch a lot. But I feel like this shimmer I could still combine with a little bit more of a neutral crease, and then it would kind of work. A little bit more blending. I think we're just gonna go in with the black. I think we're gonna use the black as a liner. This feels so weird to do. I'm someone who kind of experiments with colors and makeup and looks, but there are some things I just won't do. I just won't do. Like, I am not by far wearing light summer makeup every day. By far. It's not my thing to do, but there are some rules I stick to. Like, some things are just going too far. I feel like this is looking so incredibly harsh on me. It looks like Halloween. Makeup for a Halloween party. It's also because it's black and like warm tones, but I feel like a lot of people actually wear black with warm tones and look good. Okay, I think I'm gonna apply a little bit of the shade Icon over here on the little lash line. Grabbing my chance. I'm just taking that brush that I used for the black because we want that darkness for this look. We're actually going for that. I feel like all you see when you look at me right now is this eyeshadow. Gonna clean it up a little bit because it's not fair if it's messy. And for the inner corner highlight, I guess we're just going with Radiant over here. I already used it in the corner, quite like it, but it's gonna go well with the warm tones of this look. Okay, we're gonna clean up a little bit under the eyes. Like, I don't want to wear too much face makeup because I feel like it's gonna alter like the look of my skin. We want to see how bad my skin looks or doesn't. So I'm gonna take a little bit of this. Clean up. And now black is everywhere. Man, how do people use black? It's messy. I do not have black mascara and I thought about maybe buying it for this video, but honestly, I don't want to buy a mascara for a one-time use because I would not use it again. Like, I would not. And I'm not trying to be wasteful. I feel like I'm looking very pale. We're gonna use this Magic Brown Mascara by Catrice, but it's kind of like this burgundy-ish mascara. And I feel like with the black liner situation, it's gonna look black and we're gonna get the effect that we want. This is a pretty good mascara, by the way, and if you use it with like purple or brown, it pulls a little softer. It's not the softest of mascara colors, but it's softer than the black. In a way, doing this look is kind of liberating. Like, I feel like I really had this blockade in my head for certain colors, and like, even if it's not in your color season, you can still like practically wear them. It's not gonna probably look as good. Not everyone agrees on that, by the way. Like, not everyone believes in color seasons. Alright, so these are the eyes. I feel like a lot of people would look great in this eye look, but it's not me. It is not me. Alright, let's move on to the next thing. So I grabbed out this little face palette. This is from Kiko Milano. This is from the Beauty War collection. This is 01 Beauty Statement. Don't know if this would still be available. This bronzer I found way too warm for me. So this is what we're gonna use. I'm gonna take a little bit of a smaller brush. It's a bit hard to get in the pan, but look at how yellowy this is. This is a very warm bronzer. Not the warmest of warm, like you can even get more orange. But honestly, it's a really nice formula, but it's just not my color. You know which one was also really not my color? The ColourPop Soul Body cream bronzer. Beautiful formula, but really warm. Like, it just pulls very yellowy on me. Just look at my skin with and without. It's just not the right tone. Like, the depth is fine and the blend is fine. Honestly, bronzers are not really recommended for cool seasons. I personally think that there are enough cool tone bronzers in the world. Like, bronzers don't have to be orange. And also, cooler tone people look different when they've been out in the sun. Just find something that makes you look like you've been out in the sun. Find something with the right undertone. I love using contour products to use as a bronzer. I did see one image where kind of like rosy bronzers were recommended, so I'm kind of thinking I might choose one of the NYX Buttermilk bronzers for the good look. Like, it has to be a little bit of a cooler or rosy tone and not too gray, I feel, for it to really work. This is me in a warmer bronzer. Then next up, I'm gonna grab the Nude Prism Blush Palette by Luna Beauty. And here we have a very warm, not the warmest of warm, but definitely a warm blush. This is Blaze, and honestly, I would wear this blush with a certain look. I feel like a lot of colors that don't actually suit me, I can kind of make work with a certain look. I don't know, it kind of also depends on what color you're wearing, and kind of also depends on what you combine it with. Maybe your eyeshadow is your perfect color. By the way, this is quite a nice blush actually, but maybe not the perfect color. It still has a little bit of rosiness in it. It could have been worse, but I don't really own any orange blushes. But what I was saying is, like, there are ways to wear your worst or less good colors. Definitely. Like, you can kind of sandwich it between good colors. Also, if you're wearing a color like shirt that isn't a color that fits you, you can kind of like fix that a little bit by wearing like the perfect makeup for you. Like, you will kind of balance it out. I actually quite like this blush in a way, but it's not my color. For the highlighter, I was thinking I would skip that for today because I don't feel like it would really make a lot of a difference. Like, it's a highlighter is a sheer thing. It's not really like a color thing that's gonna do a lot. Like, if I take a highlighter that's too deep, of course that's gonna look weird. Alright, I did my brows and I actually don't mind the cheeks as much as I was thinking. Like, definitely this is the the most jarring part of this. By the way, I did put on a top that is actually my color because I did want to show the effect of the makeup. Like, I didn't want to show you the effect of the wrong top with the wrong makeup. I really want to show you what makeup does. Next up, I have here the NYX Line Loud Lip Pencil. This is a shade Ambition Statement. And this is a very, like, bricky, very warm, very kind of like terracotta brown color. And we're going to combine it with something that I feel like is going to look really bad. Alright, this is a lip liner. I feel like paired with a certain lip color, this could still kind of work. Like, it's not unusable, that's why I bought it. But I think with this lip product, it's gonna be too much warmth. And this one I actually bought because I did a lip swatching video, lip swatching of the Glassing Melting Balms. And this was one of the colors. This was basically the only color that I did not like. This is shade 15 Pecan Brew. And this is just a very, very warm, reddish terracotta shade. I believe on the lips it's a little bit more bright even. Like, that is a very warm shade. It's like a darker orange. So with this we also have kind of like the darkness and the warmth that is taking over my face. Alright, so this is the finished makeup. I cannot help but feel very like clown-esque. Like, this is kind of like stuck on my face. Like, it's there kind of by accident. It doesn't feel blended in. It doesn't feel natural. It doesn't look like, I don't look like myself. I look kind of like a caricature of myself. It's all just a little too much. I feel like I'm looking very yellow. I'm looking very like harsh over here. I do feel like it's contrasting my eye color quite a bit. Like, that's a thing I can say about it. And I also feel like eye color does come into play, and with the information that I found on the internet on light summers, like, they tell you like what eye colors light summers can have, but they don't really say like when you are a light summer that has green eyes, like these are your best colors. And I feel like a certain contrast with your eye color is also something that comes into play, but it's not really talked about in like the season's description. Yeah, what else can I say about it? It's too much, it's too harsh. I look quite pale. I feel like the skin that is not covered in the makeup is looking quite pale. I just feel like it's not looking like it's my face. I don't feel like I look like myself. I just feel like a kid wearing makeup. I just feel like it's kind of like stage makeup. It's wearing me. It's wearing me. It feels like a mask. I don't feel like myself, and I cannot wait to do my best makeup tomorrow. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun, and I think like we're gonna do, like, I'm gonna show you some shots side by side and you're really gonna see the difference. It is time to do the light summer makeup and I'm so excited. Of course, I have a lot of options for this. I just grabbed out a few things. We're gonna see what we're gonna do. So for the light summer makeup, we're thinking cool, not extremely cool. At least for me personally, I feel like a very, very, very cool gray eyeshadow looks a little harsh on me. So we're going like cool-ish, taupes, pinks, things like that. Then for like the blush and the lips, we're also kind of like thinking soft, light pinks. Cool tone pinks, but not like super, super cool. So like there's always a little bit of softness and a rosiness in the best lipsticks for light summers. You can go a little bit like purple-ish, but kind of like almost like a rosy light. Like, I do really love that on myself. Okay, for this look, I am gonna like be a little bit more serious with the primers and things because I want to wear this for the full day. Once again, I'm wearing like a light summer top and earrings. Like, these are light summer colors because I just want to really show you what the makeup does. By the way, what I also do want to mention is that light summers are usually advised to use kind of like light to mid-tone colors for like eyeshadow, blush, everything. I am high visual weight. I recently had a facial analysis where I was analyzed as a high visual weight. So for a light summer, I can go a little bit more like heavy on the makeup, but we're not doing it like too heavy, not like the black in that first look. So one of my favorite light summer toned eyeshadow palettes is this Kaleidos Quad, and this one is a Venus Trap. I really like the shades in here. This one is a little silvery, but these are very much like kind of like taupey, almost gray, but not exactly gray. I really like this matte kind of like to bring the freshness and the lightness, because you do want to have like a little bit of freshness to the looks when you're a light summer. Like it's the brightest of the summers. One that I also really like is this Swan Ballet palette by Flower Nose. This is in Pink Swan. Like really nice, like rosy pinky tones. And then this cool tone brown, I feel like it's a good addition to kind of like deepen up the look. I also really like the Colourpop That's Taupe palette. This is also really like light to mid-tone. It's not exactly gray, but it's very taupey, it's very cool toned. And I recently did a look, like this is not completely a light summer palette at all, but I recently did a look kind of like going into these shades, and I felt like for grays, like if you're looking for grays for a light summer, like these types of grays, like I want to give you the example, work really well. I feel like they are still soft. I feel like there's still something very wearable about them. They're not too harsh on the eye. I will probably pop up the look that I did with this so you can kind of like see how it looks. I'm not going to be using this one today, but I feel like this is a type of grays that I do like to wear. Alright, for this look, I'm already wearing some eye primer. I'm kind of thinking I want to use the mattes from this palette, and then I might use this shimmer from the Flower Nose palette, because this one, shimmer, like it is very, very impactful, and I want to make the whole look a little like more soft than that. So I'm just gonna start out in the crease with this shade. And this really has a little bit of a pinky tone to it. And putting down a shade like this first really makes the whole look a little bit more like soft. If you want it to be a little more impactful, like you can use one of the more mid-tone or deeper shades first. But we're doing a light summer look, keeping it soft. I really like the quality of the mattes in this eyeshadow palette. I feel like this is the type of look that kind of all summers can wear, because we're kind of like sticking to the neutrals. But I feel like summers can also wear a little bit more like bright pastels. Like you can also dabble into that a little bit. Like there are so many options. I chose something for this, but I could do like so many light summer looks also with colors, like with blues, with purples, with mints. Okay, I'm going into this shade now to kind of like deepen up that look in the outer corner. This is already looking so much different. Let's do a little bit of a blend. I think I'm gonna go into the shimmer first and then kind of like see what I want to do from there. And I'm gonna go for the more cool toned pinky shade. I feel like that's gonna be really nice, and it just adds a little bit of the brightness that you still want in your makeup. So I feel like if you're a little bit more of a cool toned light summer, you can go definitely more gray than what I'm doing now. Like this still has kind of like that purpley taupey undertone. I'm adding in some pink, but it's definitely possible for light summers to look really good in like lighter to mid-tone grays. But I don't know, it just doesn't work with me, I feel. And a lot of the times when I do kind of like a very extremely totally cool toned eyeshadow look, people will tell me that it doesn't suit me. Like it's the kind of look that I get the most comments on, like that's not your colors. Okay, I'm grabbing this shade from the Quad as a shadow liner. So really like this gray brown. I just really love the softness of that. And I think I'm gonna grab like a combination of the lighter two mattes. I'm gonna put that under my eye. So a little bit in both of them. A little definition here. But yeah, for a light summer, I feel like I'm very neutral. And I think that's also why a lot of people tell me like, you look pretty good in those warm shades. Like if I use spring makeup, I feel like it still quite suits me because it's not that far off. Like still pretty close. I feel like especially with makeup, I'm like right in the middle, a little bit to the cool tones. Little blending. I think I'm just gonna add a little tiny bit of that deepest color, like a tiny bit. I hope I'm not risking too much in the outer corner. It's kind of like an extension of that shadow liner. I dip in ever so lightly. And then we're going back in with the blending brush to soften it up again. Using a little bit of the lightest shade of the quad to soften the edges. Because I really want the definition to be in the outer corner. I think that is looking like pretty cute. I'm liking it. I made a inner corner highlight. And I'm thinking I'm gonna take the shade Slated from the That Stove palette. And let's see if that works as an inner corner highlight. It's been a while. Yeah, I think that's working. Like for a highlight in general, as a light summer, you can use kind of like a cooler toned champagne or a pinky shade. But usually when it comes to my inner corners, I'm quite like flexible, quite creative. I'll take a little bit of that under here as well. Okay, I think I'm feeling quite good about this. Because this is kind of like an extension of my face analysis video, I want to use a lower lash liner. And what I've been using is the Now Like Cupid's Arrow in the shade Cappuccino. So it's kind of like a cool toned brown. It's a little on the softer side. Like in that video, I used quite a dark shade and it didn't really work. I know it didn't work. So we're trying this. And I've been using it and I've been liking it. Because it's like doing something, but it's kind of subtle. And I'm just applying a little. And I feel like this like stays in my waterline quite well. I feel like this is not too harsh. Like maybe I could get something a little bit more on the gray side, but I haven't bought that yet. Like I don't have that many liners because I never used to do this before. Okay, for the mascara, you can do kind of like a grayish brown or quite a gray one. You want to take a cool tone brown to kind of like a grayish brown color. You don't want to go with black. To keep it to like the right colors, I'm gonna go with this grayish brown from Romand. This is the Long Ash shade from the Han All Fix mascara line. Mascara. And I feel like this is still looking almost like I'm wearing a black mascara, but if I would actually wear a black mascara, I think you would see quite the difference. Alright, so that is the mascara on. This is the eye look. I really think this is going quite well. I hope you're liking it as well. Like, there are some different opinions usually when you were talking about like color season and facial analysis. Alright, so for light summers, officially, a lot of sources say that light summers cannot wear a bronzer. I personally feel like you can, as long as it's cool toned, but it's like not my professional opinion, it's just my opinion. Like, I'm not a professional, I'm an enthusiast. So I would say look at kind of like cool toned contour shades that are not too gray. You want it to still look kind of natural. So I love taking products like this. This is the new Essence Contouring Duo Stick in shade Fair, I believe this was. And it is a contour stick, but I like to use this as a bronzer because it is that cool toned tone. But I also saw one source that said that you can use kind of like a rosy undertoned bronzer. Those don't exist a lot. I do have the NYX one that is a little bit peachy, but because I wanted to keep it like really cool toned, I'm just gonna use this one. And I'm gonna mainly use it to bronze up over here and over here. I don't know yet if I'm gonna put it on my cheeks for the sake of this being like the ideal light summer makeup look video. Like you can see it's very cool tone, but it's not exactly gray. And that is what I'm usually like looking for. So let's blend this out. By the way, I am once again not wearing any face makeup, no like skin tint, foundation or anything. I just put a little bit of concealer on my zit that I have over here. Just so that it wouldn't like distract too much from the makeup. But I just feel like you want to see what it does to your skin when you apply the right colors. And if you apply like a certain like high coverage foundation or anything like that, that's gonna like change the way colors look on you a little bit. That's also why if you do a color analysis, you usually would do it ideally without any makeup on. Also, if you're like trying any of those filters, be in kind of like in front of a window and make sure that you don't have any makeup on. And if you have dyed hair, make sure that's out of the way. Like it shouldn't change your appearance too much. Alright, I'm very used to like using bronzer on my cheeks as well, but I think it's all gonna be fine once we do the blush. Okay, so for the blush, one of the options that I have here is the new Huda Beauty, what is this called? It doesn't have the name on it. Oh, blush filter in cotton candy. Like if you take a little bit of a slightly softer cool tone pink, I feel like that is like a pretty safe choice. And then I also grabbed out the RMS Beauty French Rosé Redimension Blush. And this is also kind of like that like petal pink, a little glowy situation. Alright, let's apply a little bit of this Huda blush right on the apples. That is what I'm doing most days nowadays. This is a really easy to apply blush, and I do love the little bit of rosiness that is coming like back into the face with this, because it makes the whole look a little like softer. It looks a little bit more natural. I just really love like rosiness. I just feel like rosiness is just such a natural state of the face to be in, such a natural color. I feel like this is really taking the look to a new level. I'm really liking this. Like, this is great. Okay, let's do a little bit of the RMS on top, just for fun. And because I love blush, just a tad for the vibes. I feel like now it's really coming together. Alright, for the highlighter, as I said, you can take kind of like a cool tone champagne or kind of like a lightish pink. I also sometimes like to use something a little bit lilac-y, a little bit like almost purpley, but still a little bit pinky. I just feel like that looks really fresh. But I grabbed out the Sunflex Sun Chaser highlighter by BH Cosmetics, and I feel like this is a really good example of like a cool tone champagne. So I was like, I'm gonna use this. I feel like what you kind of want to avoid is something super golden, but also that just doesn't suit my skin tone really. Like sometimes I will use a little bit of a peachy highlighter, but I also kind of feel like it depends on like the rest of your makeup. Like you can, I think, but you know, as I said, I'm not the expert. Like I don't have any certification, but I feel like you can kind of mix and match a little bit. Doing a little on the chin. Is that too much? And make like peachy things kind of work for you as well. Like some sources say you can wear corals as a light summer, and I do believe kind of like peachy pinks, light corals, like things like that, they do work. But kind of like see for yourself, because not every light summer is the same. Like maybe you're more of a cool tone light summer and things will look a little different on you. Alright, I'm gonna do my brows off camera. Alright, for the lips you have some options. But I did want to do something pinky. I did want to do something like in that direction. I am someone who will dabble into peaches a little bit as well, but kind of like peachy pinks. For the lip liner, I'm just grabbing out quite a cool tone mauve shade. Like this is more for the definition. It's not gonna change the color of the lip product too much. So I just would say take something a little deeper, still cool toned, that's just gonna structure the light pink lip that you might want to use. Like a lot of the tips are very light pink lips, but I feel like that can be a little like too light, but if you still want that vibe, like structure it a little bit. So I'm gonna use the Plumping Lip Liner by Catrice in Queen Vibes. And I have used so much of this, like I'm always using this basically. And this is just like pretty similar to my lip color. I feel like the thing where I am the most true, like most constantly true to my light summer coloring is lip products. I have so many like pinky peach, light coral, like lighter lip products. I just love that range of shades in lip products. I love it on me. So I could have picked almost any lip product in my collection. Like usually when I have products that kind of like differ from that, are a little different, it's like something that happens maybe for a video. But I love pinks. I love my pinks. I wear a lot of pinks. So I just grabbed out the Beauty Creations Plump and Pout Plumping Gloss Stick in Dream Girl. This is a painful one, keep that in mind, but I really like how nude yet fresh this color is, and I was just feeling something glossy. Like, I don't mind painful lip plumpers. I would say that I would maybe potentially love this even more without the plumping, but I can live with it because I really like the way it looks. And now that everything's almost done, I'm kind of feeling a little bit more blush. I'm taking a little bit more of the RMS. Just gonna apply a little bit more. I just feel like blush is such a focal point for me for makeup. Like, it needs to be balanced. I can do like almost naked cheeks. Not that that was the situation, but I can do it. Alright, I think I like it. I think I like this look. Like, I did make it a little bit more visual weight, just to kind of like fit my features. Not just my contrast levels and my undertones, but just my features as a whole. But I am really into this look. I'm actually very excited that I really went into it, like really fully dove into the truly light summer makeup. And this is the final finished light summer makeup. I feel like it's very fresh. It still looks very light. It looks kind of soft. And I just feel like you're really looking at me, like you're seeing my face. It's not like you're seeing the makeup and then you're seeing me. I feel like my overall skin tone is looking much better. It's looking like blended in with my skin. I just feel like I look much brighter, much more awake. I feel very pretty in this makeup. I'm really happy with how this came out. I feel like adding a little bit of the shadow with kind of like those almost like purpley taupes, but then adding in a little bit of the freshness, adding a little bit of the like the shimmer and shine really adds to kind of like that soft yet fresh look that light summers have. So yeah, I'm gonna show you like the difference. I'm gonna show you side by side of the light summer makeup and like the, what shall we call it, like warm autumn makeup, I guess that it could be. Like, I think it's kind of like warm autumn. Keep in mind that for the light summer makeup, but also for like the worst makeup, like there are so many options. Like, I could have made the worst makeup even worse by like deepening up the outer corner with a black or adding in like a very warm dark green. Like, there's so many ways you can look good and bad, and this is just one example of like good light summer makeup or like the flattering light summer makeup, and there's just one example of what doesn't work. I feel like really keeping in mind like the keywords of light summer and then going out to like pick your makeup, to shop for makeup is the most helpful. Just keep it light, keep it somewhat soft, but adding a little bit of freshness, and just go from like neutral to cool and kind of stay away from warm things. Alright, that's gonna be everything for today's video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye bye!